Terry and Courtney Coker, who were behind the film that we've all just watched. Was it good, guys? Yeah. Excellent. First question for you, probably a little, well, I don't think it's that bizarre. How does a man from Essex end up making a film about Auschwitz?
Well, that's a good question. During meetings of distribution and obviously brainstorming different ideas, what with the anniversary of World War II and the D-Day landings, obviously distribution companies are going to come up with, like, what do we do next? They came up with an Auschwitz sort of genre, and I was a little bit reluctant at first, to be honest. But with being very tactful and careful with the subject, because they asked for Through the Eyes of a Guard, which could be very controversial if not handled correctly. So the way I dealt with it was carefully. So yeah, just meeting different people through the industry and distribution demanding really a certain genre, and obviously without the careful navigation through the subject, I would have refused it. But they agreed to doing it this way, which sort of reflected on the way it actually was, because I spoke to an Auschwitz survivor, Leslie Kleinman, and discussed this with him to see if this was okay to do, you know, because I didn't want to upset anybody. And he, funny enough, told me a story about guards that would leave bread behind them, and you know, there were acts of kindness and acts of suicide due to the guards' involvement in their orders. So his words were, not everybody was bad, but most were fulfilling their orders, as you would do if you were a soldier fighting for your country in a world war, I suppose. So it's very difficult to answer that question, but yeah, again, carefully.
So Courtney, first time producer,
yeah.
How was that to step into something quite so, you know, quite a strong subject to go into as a first time producer?
I mean, I think it's quite a prominent subject at the moment still, and especially like even the theme of just everything, it needs to be spoken about still. So I think because it was such an important subject and one that everyone still needs to be aware of, I think it was quite exciting, exhilarating to actually be able to do something meaningful as a first time producer. So yeah, it was a great experience, and we had a wonderful team behind us that were just willing to do whatever they can to make the story be told, which is brilliant.
Tell us a little bit about the shooting locations.
So we shot in a kind of a warehouse, and we actually, Terry actually built the set of Auschwitz himself in a few days. So it was kind of, we shot most of our locations there, and then we went on to shoot elsewhere around Burnham and within Essex itself. So we kept it all local, we had an all local casting crew, and it was, I think for where it was shot and for the amount of locations and sets there are, it was shot in one warehouse, and I think it's an amazing set, obviously, but yeah, so it was.
It's funny you saying about your dad filming, making all the sets. It's really funny because if any of you are friends or follow Terry on social media, you'll just randomly see this picture of him, like with some sort of background that he's knocked up that day. I mean, you've got an awful lot of skills under your belt. Does that help when it comes to making independent film, having so much?
It certainly saves money,
yeah.
That's for sure. And it enables you to spend the little money you've got left in the low budget sector of filmmaking to you know, utilise that cash to spend elsewhere rather than spending it on set builders and the like, you know, because that way at least we can give it all we can. I realise this is a low budget movie, I'm not silly, you know what I mean, but it's all we had and we gave all we can, you know. That's all you can do.
And you've been recently learning CGI, haven't you?
Oh, don't even go there, yeah. I mean, if I'd have learnt some CGI probably before this, we might have had some more establishing shots of Auschwitz that I could have put together. But yeah, the CGI left me in a room for about 2 months with a blanket over my back, asking for dinner to be delivered to that very dark room. So it's not that everything in filmmaking. If you've got the time, you can literally do it on your own. Obviously, apart from your cast and your bits and pieces, but you can. But the team make it happen a lot quicker. The coordination, the collaboration,
the support as well.
Yeah, the support, everything. It sort of clicks into place. But one thing you haven't got on a low-budget movie is time and money. So you've got to do the best you can to make the best you can. And obviously, people are going to say, "Yeah, you made it in a shed" or whatever. But we did our best, and that's all you can do.
The thing being, is at the end of the day, it doesn't, to a degree, it doesn't really matter how you made it. You've made it, you've told a story, and you've got it to release, which is more than a lot of indie film makers are able to achieve. You can go into HMV now and you can pick up your DVD or your supermarket, etc. What do you feel about the current indie filmmaking scene? Because there's positives and negatives. How do you feel about it? I mean, you're now did I read you're now on your 5th project?
Yeah.
And how do you feel about it? When I talk to people, you get 2 different trains of thought. You get the train of thought that people are making indie film and they're not very good at it. And then you've got people that are making indie film and they're actually really quite good at it. Anything out there? Because there's a guy over there that I know for definite who's going to be interested in the answer to this question.
Okay. So first of all, just a quick journey. If you really believe in it, get your money together, even if it's a £5, go and make it. Is the answer. Just get it out there. Do your best you can, and that's what I did initially. And then, try to initiate people to become interested. It's all easy to say, right? It's so easy to say. And I'm nowhere, I'm still at the very low end of this. But I think, what do I think about the indie film industry at the moment? It's tough. It's extremely tough. I think if you think about it for too long, the genre is going to be out of fashion. If you do it too quick, then you shortchange yourself. There's a fine line between getting the film done and getting the film right. I don't think that, and that's, everybody's going to travel a different journey through the indie film way. And unless you can and even if you get loads of money thrown at you, if you don't spend it wisely, then, I think you're going to come unstuck, because you can pay more for actors, more for cast, crew, bigger hotels, nicer 3-course meals for your crew. It can go on and on. If someone's willing to work for a cheese sandwich and that's all you can afford, then that's what you've got to go for.
How do you like to cast your actors? Because you tend to, you have like that die-hard core of people that you use again and again.
Yeah.
And how do you like to
find
your actors?
I think it becomes a film family. So you get your mum, dad, your aunts, your uncles, and then your cousins, and then your cousins' cousins, and you have to sort of network through. I network through the people that I know already, and who their friends are, and who they're recommending, and then you bring them to the table. So, but apart from that, obviously, on my most recent film, that's not an Auschwitz movie. I've sort of gone a little bit further out, still connected. Oh, this guy's good, or that guy's good, but not necessarily the same people in the next movie. But I think the film family is hard to break, because you get a relationship together, and you get an understanding. You haven't got to go through that whole relationship build before you start shooting. And nothing I do up to now is rehearsed. We get the script out. We do a little sort of a screen test, and then we get them on set and block it through and shoot it, because we can't afford the rehearsal time or space to do that.
It's definitely about, obviously we worked with Nolene, who was the midwife in Guard, and she introduced us to Hayley Axe, who then worked on our next film, who introduced us to someone else. So it's definitely, if like Nolene is very passionate about all of our projects and she loves working with us, so she's happy to introduce us to her acting friends as well. It's kind of it's who you know, and it's because it's quite a nice working environment. They want to introduce other people as well to get more people involved. So it is.
And I think we're all scratching each other's back. I'd like to think that you know, an actor would come on board and you know, make it credit, and I'll do my utmost to make that credit worthy, and then at the same time I might attract a different distribution company or attract a little bit more money from somewhere, and then we can move forward and then invite them back, and maybe we'll get paid a bit more money.
You've got another release imminent. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, so on the 1st of July we've got our next film coming out called The Angel of Auschwitz. It's about midwife in Auschwitz called Stanislava Leszczynska, and she
who we saw, she
was actually the midwife, it's the same actress. She delivered 3,000 babies in Auschwitz successfully, and it's kind of about her relationship with Dr. Mengele and how their paths are parallel, but completely different stories. And obviously Dr. Mengele was a doctor in Auschwitz that experimented on twins and children. So it's a very interesting story, and they completely contrast, but it's a powerful relationship and dynamic that's in the film. Yeah.
It's really nice because you literally have a family affair when it comes to making films, because your next film, Brad was very heavily involved, wasn't he?
Bradley wrote that film, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Wow, I mean, that's a contrast in what we're doing now. Yeah, I mean, Bradley wrote the script. I come up with crazy ideas. Bradley irons it all out for me, and then he rewrites the script completely, and then we fight it out. Oh God, do we fight it out? You know. And my wife is on board. Obviously, she helps out with the catering, the line producing, Courtney producing. Bradley was producing it as well, and I do my best to direct it. You know, so it is literally a family affair. And then we've got the extended family, which is the Dugginses, all in a little row there, and they, you know, every film we do, their support, and you know, we'll get together and just try and make it again, like, you know, like the indie family filmmaking. I mean, you've got to pull your family in. If you've got an aunt or an uncle or a brother or a sister, get them in, because that costs money, and if you can save money, you can make a better production, you know. And that's pretty much our way of moving, trying to climb the very wide-spaced rungs of ladder in the indie film market.
So someone imaginarily drops £1 million on your doorstep and says, Terry, make any film you want, what would you make?
£100 million film, try to. Do you know what I mean? I would still adopt that attitude to try to spend as little as I can to make the maximum amount as I can. I mean, believe it or not, controversially, this film you just watched, I put my own money in, so it wasn't even a money maker. It was literally, let's get it out there, let's see if we can push forward and get a little bit of credit out of it, and then maybe get recognised with a little bit more funding. We'll be able to do the establishing shots that were missing from the film, and maybe get a few more people involved. But you know, if someone dropped £1 million, what would I do? Do you mean what genre? What?
Yeah. You can make a film that you truly want to make with £1 million. What would you make?
What would I make? I've got a passion project. I can't say too much about it, but I'm very interested in jumping through time, because I love the idea of being able to change the past, the future, and to make a different present. Selfishly, obviously, you know, if you're making, and I love the 80s retro type of time jump hop movie. So if someone was to give me £1 million, I would spend it on that. Yeah.
Courtney, how about you?
We're too alike in that it would be exactly the same.
I mean, we sit and watch Back to the Future 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3. So we are
very similar.
Yeah, retro 80s sort of style movies of that genre. We're into it. So not so much Doctor Who stuff, but more more that sort
Time
of
travel.
time travel. We love that. But so we've got something bubbling. So get your £1 million out. Let's do it.
Okay, yeah. We've got quite a nice audience here. Have we got any questions for the guys down here? Yes, gentleman at the back with the hat, Mr. Fidel.
Terry, first of all, I want to congratulate you, all your cast and crew that worked
Thank you.
very hard on a beautifully shot, fantastically acted and well turned out piece of work. So, I mean, I'd like to literally thank you on that.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
When it comes to period, because you know that's where I am based in at the moment.
Yeah.
What difficulties did you have around working around the period side of it?
Well, you can't go out the warehouse. not for long anyway. And if it is, it's got to be a field. And then you're questioning that electric pylon. What date was that put up? We trusted a company called the History Bunker, who supplied the uniforms for this at a very reasonable rate. I was getting advice for the. Obviously, I don't know if anyone noticed. You probably wouldn't, but I mean, I'm obviously looking. But it's like the Hitler Youth bands, and then the different type of bands that they have in their arms. We did put that uniform on someone else during the film as well. So again, trying to save money. But to shoot a period movie on small amount of money, if you don't keep the doors closed and keep it tight in your set, then it's difficult, absolutely difficult, because everything around you has been modernised pretty much, unless you're in a woods or in a field, or you're very friendly with a World War II reenactment group.
I always find period the hardest because that's the first thing people scrutinise.
Oh,
you get
yeah.
everyone hammy when it comes to period.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, then if you know that, then you'll know where the points are, that the flaws of that. But there comes to a point where you've just got to say, you know what, I need to shoot this movie. I've done the best I can. I've done my Googling and I've done my asking. All I've got left is to hire a researcher, which I can't afford. So I just...
Well, you will achieve it, because for me it was fine, it was perfect. I
Lovely.
really didn't enjoy sitting through it.
Okay, well when we get outside I'll tell you where the flaws are, but but there are some, obviously, do you know what I mean? It just happens, and if you've got the money you can hire those people to make sure that doesn't happen, and it still does. It still does, we all spot them, we all see the reviews, mistake, but the smaller you are, fortunately, the less you've got to fall.
Yeah.
So they leave you alone a little bit, but
No random Starbucks cups turning up in your films.
Exactly.
Did I see a hand there, Mr.
Yeah,
Putz?
I was going to say, well done, sir.
Thanks, Bob.
I'm glad you didn't have any CGI. I'm glad you didn't open it up.
Really?
I think it would have ruined it.
Okay.
The claustrophobia, focus.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
characters
that played in our
worked.
favour.
And you cut your cloth accordingly. I know you said that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't have more opportunities to open it up, because we've seen all that.
Yeah,
Now
true.
we focus on the characters. We identify with the individuals. You don't see that so much.
Yeah, I mean
I think,
that's
You know, I think you achieved that they drew you in, and you think, Jesus. And because of that, you knew what was happening outside.
okay.
You knew that, because
That's
we've
fair.
all seen that.
Yeah.
So, you know,
But as
we
an
didn't
independent
need to, we didn't need to.
as an independent filmmaker, you want to make the film as big as you can, and then I suppose from like a big time director that might attempt to film like this, he might deliberately make it claustrophobic. So, you know, as me, I'm feeling inferior because, I haven't done the fly through of Auschwitz, or, you know, the big scenes. I felt like it was a bit of a small effort, but that's great to hear. Yeah, thank you, Bob. Appreciate that.
Gentleman over there with your hand in the air.
Yeah, it's more of an actory question, but how much research did the actors do before taking on the character?
They were, while directing it, sometimes the actors would say, no, I think we should do it like this, and then I would have to sort of check that, trust them, and go for it. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're an actor and you're taking on something like this, I think more so on our next production.
Yeah, on our next production, the lead, who plays Stanislava, she actually, her script was incredible, and it is, so obviously there's so much space next to her dialogue and the stage directions. It was just full up with research and how she should act and everything like that, and I think that's really important when you're going into a role that is historical.
I mean,
organising yourself.
As a director, I mean, I should go through with, you know, your 90-page script that should look 4 times as big with my notes in it. But the lady she's talking about came on, and all actors came on. Don't get me wrong, all actors came on with their research. But you know, when you've got a lead role in a film, especially of a period, and the next film I make, The Angel of Auschwitz, or I've made it, it's coming out the 1st of July, has got quite a well, it's a true story. So more so, whereas this is a fictional story that I wrote about the event. So based on true events, the next film is a true story. So I should imagine that rather than just take on the role of the feel of the character, I should imagine that Nolene's...
You need to like become the character.
Yeah, become the character, and she's very method. So
yeah.
She wrote, you know, we was like, she left it on the side once, and we looked down and like, there's more notes on there than there are lines.
Yeah.
So that's something I think that's important. And every actor works differently. They do the research at home and come with their pajamas on, or you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like everybody's different. But working with method, I've found is you have to leave them alone and let them come on, do their thing, gently direct and carry on. You know. So yeah.
Have we got any other questions out there? Oh yes, lady there.
Other than the film, I'd just like to ask who done the drawings? Was it you, Terry?
No, it wasn't. Funnily enough, it was.
Nolan Comiskey, who is the lead in the next film.
Who was the midwife in this?
Yeah.
So she did the drawings for that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
And anyone else? No? Well, thank you ever so much for bringing the film to us.